Hi, all you music lovers out there. My name's Andy Rodriguez, also known as the Blackspinner, and welcome to my channel where I go through my music collection in alphabetical and chronological order. Today's episode is the letter N through O. So we are going to be going through the bands and artists that start with the letter N and the letter O. I should be able to fit both letters in this episode. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and please leave a comment. I've been collecting records for over 20 years. I've got quite the collection, and I'm just so happy to be sharing it with y'all today. And let's get started with the letter N. And the letter N is a band out of Scotland. And you know, when I first heard this band, you kind of know where Guns N' Roses came from. Well, before Guns N' Roses and before Tesla, there was Nazareth. This one is called Hair of the Dog. This is a really good hard rock album. This was done in early 70s, maybe mid 70s. And the album tracks on here are Hair of the Dog. Love Hurts is a really good ballad, which is widely known as one of their most famous songs. But I never knew this. Me, of all people, the Blackspinner, did not know that this was a cover song of an Everly Brothers, and I heard the original by the Everly Brothers. It was also written by the Everly Brothers. And if you're not too familiar with the Everly Brothers, there were a duo back in the late 50s, early 60s that took music by storm. There were pop country rock, you know, around there with great harmonies and great songwriting. I wish I had a couple of their stuff on vinyl. I'm still looking. I will find. But Love Hurts was a original song by the Everly Brothers, and now Nazareth made it famous for them. And I enjoy both versions of Love Hurts because they're so different. And it's a really good rock ballad, and I really do enjoy it. Beggar's Day is a really good song, and Whiskey Drinking Woman, and Please Don't Judas Me. This album is really good. I really enjoy the hard rock and also the psychedelic and the experimentation in this album by Nazareth. You should check it out. Unfortunately, this is the only Nazareth album I have. I just recently started to listen to them. But the vocals done by Dan McCafferty are so well. I mean, you can tell where Axl Rose got his inspiration from. And next we come into someone that I haven't really talked that much about country music, but I will now, starting with the one and only Texas very own Willie Nelson. This is one of his early albums called Hello Walls. There's Willie there with no beard and short hair. This was back when he was trying to establish himself as a singer-songwriter in Nashville. And this album has if you enjoy Willie Nelson's outlaw country ways, this is not the album for you. This has a lot of orchestra work to it and a lot of balladry, and his voice is a little different. So it's a little bit of a crooner. You know, that's what country was back in the 60s, and he was trying to make a name for himself. He had already made himself known as a songwriter in the Nashville world in the 60s, but he was trying to come out as a performer, and this is very unlike what we're used to from Willie Nelson. The songs on here is a cover of Hello Walls, and Funny How Time Slips Away, Half a Man, and 3 Days. Those are some pretty good songs, but if you're looking for his outlaw days, this is not the album for you. And another one by Willie, the Columbus Stockyard Blues, and other country hits. There's another early Willie. I mean, it doesn't even look like Willie Nelson. The songs on here, I do need to say I'm not that familiar with this one. The couple that I do like on here is San Antonio Rose, the title track Columbus Stockyard Blues. I trade all of my tomorrows just for one yesterday is a really good song. But yeah, Willie Nelson. He'll start to get into the Willie Nelson we know and love. And this is one of his first albums, first classic albums. First of a string of them. Shotgun Willie. Now he's starting to look like the Willie that we know. Okay, this one was in 1973. And the songs on here, Shotgun Willie, Whiskey River. Whiskey River, if you're used to it, used to hearing it live, it's a little bit faster. It's a little bit slower. The original's a little bit slower. And Sad Songs and Waltzes is a really good original song by Willie Nelson. It's a little slower. And if you want to hear another version of this, Cake, the 1990s alternative band Cake, does a cover of it on their breakthrough album Fashion Nugget. Local Memory is also good. Stay All Night, Stay a Little Longer. That's a really good song too. She's Not For You and You Look Like the Devil, which is a Leon Russell written song. And to continue on Willie's beginning of classic periods, the next one he came out with was Phases and Stages. This is a difficult album to listen to, especially if you're going through a heartbreak, because this is a concept album about the end of a marriage. Side 1 is the woman's point of view. Side 2 is the man's point of view. The songs on here, Pretend I Never Happened, Sisters Coming Home, Down at the Corner Beer Joint. And those are the style tracks on the woman's side, on side 1. Side 2, the man answers back. It's a difficult album to listen to, but it's a fascinating album to listen to. And on the man's side, let's go with Bloody Mary Morning, No Love Around, I Still Can't Believe You're Gone, It's Not Supposed to Be That Way, Heaven and Hell, and then it ends with Phases and Stages. But yeah, this is a really good album. This is a concept album, a country concept album in 1973. Imagine that, you know. They didn't talk that much about Willie at the time. This is the time when he moved back to Texas. He leaves the Nashville establishment behind. He goes back home and starts this outlaw movement with friends. You know, I'm pretty sure you know Waylon Jennings, among others. And he goes back to his roots where he feels more in his skin. And this will be the album that was a breakthrough for him. And this was actually one of my first Willie Nelson albums. And it's another concept album. The Redheaded Stranger. This is basically a very naked album. It's just him, his guitar, and a little bit of drums. And maybe a little bit of sparse piano here and there. But this tells the tale of a preacher who finds out his wife has been cheating on him, and he goes out to commit murder. And that's what the story's about. Here is the inside of it with the lyrics. It's a fascinating read-through if you just want to read the lyrics. And I believe this is when he was with Columbia. Yeah, there's the famous 70s Columbia red label on there. I think I'm surprising a lot of y'all with the Willie Nelson I have. And well, I am from Texas. If you're from Texas, you gotta love some Willie. Next Willie Nelson I have is What Can You Do To Me Now? This was in 1975. Yep, 75. And this is when he's starting to get into a little bit more covers. that he tries to make his own, and his band does very well disguising them. He does a really good cover of Taylor's Fire and Rain. Also, I'm a Memory. I've seen that look on me 1,000 times. My Own Peculiar Way, and I Gotta Get Drunk. I Gotta Get Drunk. Yep. Willie Nelson. And next is, I think this is the last Willie Nelson I found. It's called The Longhorn Jamboree Presents Willie Nelson and His Friends. This is an interesting album. This is interesting because side one is Willie Nelson, and the songs that he does live are Rainy Day Blues and Nightlife. It's no Nightlife, but it's no the Nightlife. It's not the good life, but it's the life for me. But on side two is His Friends. 2 songs by David Allan Coe, 2 songs by the great Jerry Lee Lewis, and 2 more songs by Carl Perkins. That is fantastic. Carl Perkins has Honey Don't and Blue Suede Shoes on here live. And also Jerry Lee Lewis does What I Say, which is a song made famous by Ray Charles, of course. It also does a cover of Save the Last Dance for Me. Imagine hearing Jerry Lee Lewis do that. And a couple of songs by David Allan Coe that I was not too familiar with. And next I have by Willie Nelson is called The Troublemaker. This will be a country gospel album. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a gospel country album. He sings gospel songs with his own twist that only Willie Nelson and Friends can do. The band is fantastic. Oh, there's the back of it. And the songs on here: Uncloudy Day, When the Roll is Called Up Yonder, There's a Fountain, and The Troublemaker, In the Garden, and Sweet By and By. Those were some really good songs. What I heard when I heard the Troublemaker is that he's talking about, it's hard for me to say this, but when I hear the song and when I hear the lyrics, he's talking about Jesus Christ. If you're interested in it, go ahead and stream it and look it up. Willie Nelson, The Troublemaker. Listen to the song and let me know what you think about it. It's like he's combining 2 different characters together, and one of them being of Jesus Christ. Remember, this is a country gospel album, so he sings a lot about that. Willie Nelson, The Sound in Your Mind. This was a little step down from these, because these 4 that I talked about were pretty much classics for him at the time. He was riding high. And, eventually you're going to slow down a little bit. That Lucky Old Son, if you got the money, honey, I've got the time. I love that song by Willie. Thanks Again. And on side 2, he does do a cover of Amazing Grace. And he does a little medley of his earlier songs that he makes more of his own with his sound today. With Funny How Time Slips Away and Crazy, which I'm sure any music lover will know that he is the original writer of Crazy, made very famous by Patsy Cline. He wrote it when he was, I want to say, early 20s or maybe even late teens. Crazy. I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. And Nightlife. It ain't the good life, but it's my life. I like that song too. And the next one that I have is To Lefty from Willie. Who is Lefty? Lefty is not the first, but he was one of the first country western superstars in the 50s. His name was Lefty Frizzell. And this album here is full of covers that Willie Nelson does for Lefty Frizzell. And the songs on here: Mom and Dad's Waltz, Look What Thoughts Will Do, Always Late with Your Kisses. It's a really good song. I Want to Be With You Always. And on side 2, She's Gone, Gone, Gone. That's a good song too. And Railroad Lady. Yeah, Lefty Frizzell. I'm not too familiar with his music. I just know what Willie Nelson has done, and I really enjoyed it. And the next I have, this was his breakthrough album. Another breakthrough album. I'll say another breakthrough album because he changes courses here. This is Willie Nelson Stardust. And this is a lot of jazz remakes. A lot of these are covers that were once jazz standards that he turns into country songs. And let's go through them. Stardust, Georgia on My Mind, Blue Skies, and All of Me. Why don't you take all of me? And he does a cover here of Unchained Melody. On side 2, let's go Moonlight in Vermont. It's a good song. And Someone to Watch Over Me. Wait a minute, what's that noise, guys? Oh, well, it's a double live album. This is Willie Nelson and the Family double live album. There's the inside of it. I used to play this a lot years ago. I haven't heard it in a while, but it's a very good album. It starts off with Whiskey River, Stay a Little Longer, Funny How Time Slips Away, Crazy, Nightlife, If You Got the Money, I've Got the Time, and Mama Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, and I Can Get Off on You. That's a really good song. He lists all these different vices, but he doesn't eat those vices because he can, his girl's love is enough for him. If You Can Touch Her at All, Good-Hearted Woman, and this actually has a good-hearted woman in love with a good time man. Man, Willie has some really good songs. And they've got a really good medley of The Redheaded Stranger, which gives you, all that you need to listen on Redheaded Stranger. If you don't want to hear the whole album, there's a nice medley here. And on side 3, Bloody Mary Morning, I'm a Memory, Hello Walls, and Amazing Grace. Side 4, he has his old buddy on here with him, Johnny Paycheck, with Take This Job and Shove It. I Ain't Working Here No More. And Uncloudy Day, which we talked about that was on his country gospel album. Georgia on My Mind, I Gotta Get Drunk, and he plays Whiskey River again. I'm telling you, this is a really good double live album. I like I said, I used to hear this all the time. I haven't heard it in a while, but it's something I need to throw on there very soon. And this here is a Christmas album by Willie. Every Christmas season, when you are listening to, Christmas music, what are the songs by him that one of the best songs on this album is Frosty the Snowman. And that seems to have been the hit that everybody gravitates to. And here is a Greatest Hits by Willie Nelson. It's a double album. Here's the inside of it. Oops. And this has all the songs that we've already talked about. I'm just going to mention the ones that we haven't talked about that stand out to me. Look What Thoughts Will Do, and Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys. My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys. Angels Flying Too Close to the Ground. I Have to Be Crazy. On the Road Again. Yeah, this is a really good compilation by him. And after that, Willie Nelson, yes, we're still with Willie Nelson, comes out with Always on My Mind. That was a big hit for him in 82, 83. I mean, it's got to be here somewhere. 82. Do Right Woman, Do Right Man. Always on My Mind, Wider Shade of Pale. Bridge Over Troubled Water. These are going to be all cover songs that he, that him and the family and his band made made their own. Last Thing I Needed, First Thing This Morning, and The Party's Over. And the next one I have by Willie Nelson is Tougher Than Leather. I know we got to move this along a little bit more. This one here, Summer Roses and Somewhere in Texas, and the beer barrel polka. This is also going to be a concept album. It tells you the story in the back. And he is known for doing duet albums. He does a duet album here with Merle Haggard. And one of my favorite country songs on here, Pancho and Lefty, starts off the album. But I was kind of disappointed by this album. It's kind of lackluster to me, but just hearing Pancho and Lefty is worth it. Here's another one with Willie and Paul, called Me and Paul. This is, of course, Paul English, who is percussionist, and the songs on here: I've Been to Georgia on a Fast Train, I'm a Memory, She's Gone, One Day at a Time, and again, he redoes Pretend I've Never Happened. And now we get into a 1980s hard rock band who took the world by storm between 80 and 84. Night Ranger. This is their debut album, Night Ranger Dawn Patrol. The songs on here: Don't Tell Me You Love Me, 'Cause I Already Know. Eddie's Coming Out Tonight is a good song. Sing Me Away, and At Night She Sleeps. And on guitar on here is Brad Gillis, and Brad Gillis is known for being in the Ozzy Osbourne band, and so he's pretty much the leader of the band, but he plays guitar. But his on vocals, he's got the great Jack Blades, which Jack Blades will go on and join and do Damn Yankees with someone else that I'm about to talk about very shortly here. But yeah, Night Ranger, if you're looking for some really good pop hard rock, this is a band for you. And also, this is Night Ranger. This is their second album. And the album tracks on here that stick out are You Can Still Rock in America, Rumors in the Air, Sister Christian, The Time Has Come. That's such a good song. I really like Sister Christian. I remember when it came out in the early 80s. And Touch of Madness and When You Close Your Eyes was also a big hit for them. This was a blockbuster album for them. Yeah, the Midnight Madness by Night Ranger. And we go on to one of my favorite bands that I really enjoy a lot. Let's start off. Let's go with NOFX, Punk in Dublic. I remember when I first heard this album, I had just moved to Houston in '99, and my cousin Jason was playing this album, and in fact, he was listening to a lot of NOFX at the time. I had never heard of them at the time, so it didn't take me long to be a big fan of theirs. Pink Album. I don't know why, but it is. And this is probably my favorite album by them. This is their breakthrough album. It is. Linoleum, Leave It Alone, Dig, The Cause, Don't Call Me White, My Heart Is Yearning, Perfect Government, The Bruise, Dying Degree, Lori Myers, Jeff Wears Birkenstocks, Punk Guy. Yeah, I almost read every song on this album. This is fantastic. This is a really good album. I highly recommend it if you like punk rock. NOFX. It's a really good band. They are under their own label now called Fat Records, which Fat Mike, who's the bass player and lead singer, and mainly lead writer for NOFX. And they have a lot of really good punk bands on their roster under Fat Records. Lagwagon being one of them, and a couple of others that kind of slipped my mind right now. But this is an interesting album right here. This is what they call a split album of NOFX and Rancid. And what a split album is that NOFX will play Rancid songs, and on side 2, Rancid will play NOFX songs. This was a concept that was going around at the time, and NOFX wanted to do it, but the only way that NOFX would do it is if only Rancid will be their partner, and Rancid did not bat an eye. They said that they would love to do it. There's the Rancid side, and here's the NOFX side. It's an interesting album, especially if you like both bands. And NOFX does I'm the One, Olympia, Washington, and Corazon de Oro, and Radio. And Rancid do Moron Bros, Stick in My Eye, Don't Call Me White, and Bruise and Bob. So if you're familiar with NOFX and Rancid, you're going to love this. It's a really good album. It's fun. And NOFX, The War on Errorism. This was a fantastic album that came out. The songs on here: Separation of Church and Skate, the irrationality of rationality, Franco Un-American, which is the song that sticks out here, that holds the whole album together. It's a very main theme of the song of this album is off of Franco Un-American, and the Idiots Are Taking Over. It's a really good song. Mattersville, She's Nubs, which is a funny song. American Heiress, and 13 Stitches, and Oops, I OD'd, and Meteorcore. Yeah, that's a really good album by NOFX. The inside of it, they've got the lyrics for it, and then the album. Sometimes these get stuck. Us album owners know how that can be, right, guys and gals? And earlier I tried a sound effect to go with my double live albums. They didn't work out too well, so I'm just going to toss it out the window. Hey, I tried something, but double live album. I guess that's better. NOFX double live album. They've actually gotten worse live, is what this one's called. Here's the inside of it with so much information. Of course you can't read it because of all the small writing, but there's a lot of info on here. Double live albums. I love them. Just love the double live. The songs on here: Franco Un-American, Glass War, Amy's a Crack Whore, Get the Stink Out, Lori Myers, I'm Melvin, Whoops, IOD, and Stick in My Eye. Yeah, this is a really good album. I enjoyed it. And next I have by NOFX is the longest EP, which is a compilation album with all of their EPs on it. And this is a double album again. And I have a couple of their EPs on vinyl, and I told myself I was going to drag them out, and I did not. They are over here with my other 45s. But I am going to have a show about my 45s, and that's when I'll pull out those singles for NOFX. I'll save them for then. But this is the EP. I mean, this has all the different EPs on there. The Longest Line, Stranded, I Want to Be an Alcoholic, My Name is Bud, Hardcore 84, The War on... They got a little commercial here for the War on Terrorism. Glass War, Concerns of a GOP Neophyte. My Orphan Year, this one done acoustically, and it's a really good song. I really like that song. Fat Mike really gets personal on that song. And You're Wrong. I've Been a Cliche, Cokie the Clown, Straight Out of Massachusetts. Yeah, this is a pretty good album. And next I have by NOFX. It's called Frisbee. This was one of their latest albums. This has some pretty good songs on there. We Call It America, The Quitter, My Orphan Year, First Call, Creeping Out Tegan. It's a really good story about how they met the pop band Tegan and Sarah, and tells about their interaction. It's pretty funny. Eddie, Bruce, and Paul, which tells the story of Iron Maiden. It's pretty interesting, their take on it. And The Agony of Victory and I Am an Alcoholic. That's a really good album. If you like NOFX, it's really good. And from NOFX we go to Terrible Ted, the Detroit Madman. Uncle Ted, others call. Ted Nugent. This is his debut album, with Derek St. Holmes on vocals. Songs on here is The Ever Great, The Stranglehold. And you can still hear that on the radio today. Stranglehold is an epic song. It's great. Ted Nugent is just great on guitar. I really enjoy his music. Stormtrooping, Hey Baby, Just What the Doctors Ordered, Motor City Madhouse, Where Have You Been My Whole Life. Yeah, this is a really good debut album. If you're not too familiar with Ted Nugent, if you've ever heard an interview with Ted Nugent when he's talking about music, the guy is a student of rock and roll. I mean, he loves the music, and he is very true to the origins of rock and roll. And his second album came out. Is this his second or third? You know what? I got Cat Scratch Fever on CD. But Free For All. This is my favorite album by Ted Nugent. I love Free For All. This is a little bit more where the debut album by Ted Nugent sometimes wanders off, and he goes off on his guitar soloing and leaves the band behind. On this one, they are in it together, and which sounds great, because even though the guitar solos are longer on his debut album, on here they're more cohesive and they fit the music better. Let's go with Dog Eat Dog, Free For All, Hammer Down, Light My Way, I Love You So I Told You a Lie, and Turn It Up. And boy, he sure does turn it up. There's the inside of it. Terrible Ted. And we have another double live album. Man, how many double live albums do I have in this stack? Double live album by Ted Nugent, Double Gonzo. There's the inside of it. You would think that with all these pictures of just Ted Nugent, you didn't think he'd have a band with him. But he does. The songs on here are Just What the Doctor Ordered, Wang Dang Sweet Poontang, Cat Scratch Fever, Stormtrooping, Motor City Madhouse, Stranglehold, Baby Please Don't Go, Baby Please Don't Go, and Great White Buffalo, which came from his previous band called Amboy Dukes. And I thought it was very interesting to know or find out that more than half of these songs were recorded in Texas. A couple of shows in Dallas, a couple of shows in San Antonio, and Abilene, of all places. If you're not too familiar with Texas, Abilene's a small oil town. Well, not small, but you didn't think Ted Nugent would be there in the 70s. And what we have next is Ted Nugent Weekend Warriors. This will be my last of Ted Nugent albums. that I have right now. Weekend Warriors, Need You Bad. I Got the Feeling. It's a pretty good album. Here's the inside of it. Again, all 10 photos back here. Like I'm like, there's not a bass player and a singer and a drummer, right? But hey, that's Ted. I wonder if the rest of the band said, hey, where's the pictures of us? And moving right along with a debut album that's fantastic. We're moving into the O's, guys. We're moving into the O's. The Outfield debut album. This is a fantastic debut. I'm still thinking that I might even put this in my top 20 when I do my top 20 vinyls. The songs on here say It Isn't So. Oh, here's the inside of it. And then the lyrics in the back say It Isn't So. Your Love, which was such a big hit for them. Such a big hit for them. I mean, they were all over the radio in 85. I Don't Need Her, Every Time You Cry in 61 Seconds. Mystery Man, All the Love in the World, and Talk to Me. And just the last two songs, it's kind of suspect on those. Because after I've heard, the whole 347 album, now I got to go back and see if those other two will help me make this album one of my top 20. But yeah, Play Deep by the Outfield. Check it out. Check it out. This is really good 80s rock. Pop rock. And now we get to Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy Osbourne was the lead singer of Black Sabbath. And when he left Black Sabbath or got kicked out of Black Sabbath, there's so many different stories. To me, it doesn't matter. He went solo. His debut album, Blizzard of Oz. This was a fantastic debut. Just all the way around. And this has the great Randy Rhoads on it. And Bo Daisley on bass. And Lee Kirkslake on drums. Lee Kirkslake, I'll talk about him later when we get into Uriah Heep. But yeah, Blizzard of Oz songs on here. I Don't Know. Crazy Train. Goodbye to Romance. Dee's okay. It just, I understand Randy Rhoads is one of the best guitar players. He did a nice song for his mom, but it just kind of, it didn't fit. But, nobody asked me. Suicide Solution, which is a great song. Mr. Crowley and No Bone Movies and Revelation and Still Away the Night. But the only song I don't like on here is No Bone Movies. Here's the, it's a little torn, but I like it. That right there, that looks pretty cool. The paper insert, the lyrics in the back. And also what I have here was a really neat album that I found. It's called Ozzy Osbourne Live EP. This is pretty cool. I didn't even know this existed until I saw it. I was like, what is this? And what it is, it's Mr. Crowley on side 1. And side 2 has You Said It All, which has not been released. And Suicide Solution. And, what's the... Yeah, Randy Rhoads is on here. Well, yeah, he's got to be on here. But yeah, Live EP. And next, great album, Diary of a Madman. This is his second album, second proper release. And it's great. Over the Mountain, Flying High Again, You Can't Kill Rock and Roll. Man, that's a good song. And Believer, and Little Dolls, and SATO. And this ends with the masterpiece of Diary of a Madman. That is just a masterpiece of a song. And there's the back of it. And is this, yeah, this has lyrics on it. What's that? There's the band. This is the one that has Rudy Sarzo on it, on bass. And Tommy Aldridge has joined him as well. But the only mainstay on the band is Randy Rhoads from the first album. And then next we have Bark at the Moon. This was the third album. Randy Rhoads passed away at between these two albums, and he passed away in an airplane crash. Guitars that takes over for him are going to be Jake E. Lee. Jake E. Lee will stay with him through here, and then on to the next album, which is with The Ultimate Sin. There's the inside of it. If you can make it out. The songs on here are pretty good. Rock and Roll Rebel, Bark at the Moon. Bark at the Moon was the video for Bark at the Moon was a big breakthrough video for Ozzy. And if you guys and gals that are not familiar with it, check it out. The video for Bark at the Moon. You're no different. Now you see it, now you don't. And side 2 has So Tired and Waiting for Darkness, which is a really good song. I like Waiting for Darkness. And here we have a double live album by Ozzy Osbourne called Speak of the Devil. This is full of Black Sabbath songs. This has Symptom of the Universe, Snowblind, and Black Sabbath, NIB, Sweet Leaf, Never Say Die. Side 2 has Fairies Wear Boots and War Pigs and The Wizard. Side 4, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Iron Man and Paranoid and Children of the Grave. This was done at the Ritz in New York City. It's got the dates on here, September 26th and 27th, 1982. His band was, Brad Gillis was on here. We just spoke about Brad Gillis with Night Ranger and Rudy Sarzo and Tommy Aldridge. There's the inside of it. That's wicked. And the inside of it, it's just it's pretty neat actually. That little logo there, Ozzy Osbourne. It's a really clean album, and it's really neat to hear this because the Ritz, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with it. I mean, I've never been there, but I've seen it on TV. It's not that big, and to see this being played. And last but not least, on vinyl that I have for N through O is The Ultimate Sin. I love this album cover. And there's the back of it. The songs on here, Lightning Strikes, Killer Giants is a good song. Really good song. Shot in the Dark was a really good video for him. And The Ultimate Sin. But this was a little bit lackluster compared to the other albums that had come out before. There's the inside of it. Rudy Sarzo is still on here. On drums is the late great Randy Castillo is on here. Yeah, Ultimate Sin. I think this was like 86. Yeah, 1986. This was when MTV was popular, and every video that came out that had to do with rock was just fantastic. So thank you so much for joining me on this. As I was going through my records, N through O. Next, we are going to have the letter P, and we're probably going to have a Pink Floyd episode by themselves is what they're going to need, because they've earned that respect, and I've got enough for one episode for Pink Floyd. So thanks a lot for joining me on this episode. I know that it ran a little long, but hey, we had a lot to get through, and I hope that y'all learned a couple of things, and maybe some new songs, and maybe some new artists that y'all aren't that familiar with, like maybe checking out some Willie Nelson or some NOFX, a couple of bands that don't mix together, but that we talked about in one episode. And I really hope that you enjoyed the episode. I know that I had a great time here with you guys. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment. And take care of each other and keep rocking. And we'll see you next time when we do the letter P.